welcome. We are having a fun conversation. So basically, you are going to eavesdrop on a conversation I'm having with Kylie. Now, can you tell everybody who you are, Kylie, so we can...
My name is Kylie Doyle. I am a 2-time self-published author right here. This is my romantasy series. I'm currently working on my 3rd book, which is a dark romance, a very dark romance. And I am also an author consultant in my my spare time.
You're an author consultant?
Yes.
Wait, hold on. The spare time?
Yeah. Well, come on. I use that term very loosely. I also homeschool my son, and sometimes, I moonlight as a waitress to make the bills, pay the bills.
Okay, so for everybody who's like, oh, I don't have enough time in the day to do all the things, here's you just multitasking the crap out of all of this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think if you really want to make your dreams come true, you just have to fit it in where you can.
You do.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to do that for you.
No, nobody's going to write the book, and nobody's going to do the work, and nobody is going to make the content, and nobody's going to do any of the things that you need to do. So all those little spare moments, you just got to soak them up.
Everybody has the same 24 hours.
Yes.
Nobody's given more or less based on how cool they are, how great their hair is.
No.
But some people who say, I just don't have enough time. They're TikToking, it.
They're TikToking and on social media and doing the scroll. I catch myself doing it too, and I'm like, you should be writing, or you should be doing something. And sometimes it's okay to decompress and turn the brain off and just kind of like scroll through. But there are moments where you have to like pull yourself up by your bootstraps and be like, no, I have to use this time to get this done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's so noble, because it's very easy to do the easy thing and say, you know what, tomorrow, I'll get to it later.
Yes.
And everybody is guilty of saying, maybe someday, but not today.
Not today. Yeah.
And then you know what? What if someday doesn't come?
That's right. And one day you wake up and you're like, I really needed to do this. This was something that I needed to do. And then all of a sudden you feel like you have no time.
Yeah.
Again, in a different way.
So how did you then decide to prioritize writing? Because I know, because you told me earlier, you have a very busy life.
Yeah.
So how did you prioritize it? How did you make that decision?
Well, it actually happened because I almost died. So I had an ectopic, and I ended up in the hospital and had to have major surgery. And I remember afterwards, when I realized that I had been dying for like a couple of days, like I was bleeding internally, I thought to myself, I don't want to die with all this art and magic and these books inside of me. I do not want to leave nothing behind. And so it changed the whole trajectory of my life. I didn't know it in the moment, but choosing myself and choosing to write the book and write it despite and in spite of everything changed everything. My whole life is completely different because of that one choice that I made. And then it just became a way of life. Now it's things written on napkins and in my notepad, and oh my God, this TV show gave me an idea for something. And yeah, it's amazing. I think it's such an amazing process. And now it's just part of life. Writing is just part of life.
Yeah, I was often asked, still to this day, about how did we start doing the book truck?
Yes.
And
I love this.
That also grew out of pain, right? I mean, it would be great if all the beautiful, inspired things happen just because it's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But no, sometimes you have to pull yourself together and rally.
Yeah.
And that's when you find out what you can do.
Yeah, it is. When push comes to shove and you're like, you look at your life and you're like, I'm not living the life that I want to live. There's still more inside of me that wants to come out. And you choose to move forward into and step into that wild unknown, which it really is. And And you don't know. You don't know that first tiny little step is going to change everything, but it does. It does.
But that's the magic of it.
Yeah,
If
it
we
is.
knew,
We probably wouldn't do it, or we might, but the feeling fear and doing it anyways, I think is so,
yeah,
it's such a, and things birthed from pain are so poignant and so palpable
and so relatable.
Yes.
I think people say, I want to avoid suffering. I mean, that's a human thing. I get it, right? Of course, we want to avoid suffering.
Nobody wants to touch the thing they know is hot.
Sure. But then I just wonder, right? Like, and because we're risky by nature.
We are, yeah.
Even though a lot of us
we're
tend
cautious.
to feel risk averse, we still do things that are a little out there sometimes. And it's when we do that there are benefits.
Yes.
And I think that is where some of the magic actually happens.
It
is that if we keep ourselves in a safe bubble where it's all good, I get stuff brought to me, things are easy, I don't have to suffer or struggle, you also don't have any victory.
No.
And
that comfort zone is more dangerous than outside of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Like I would say, let your kids play. Let them hurt themselves. Let them fall on rocks. Let them whatever. We went to take our daughters to the pediatrician when they were little. And I said, I'm not going to bubble wrap my kids.
No.
He said, let them play with sticks. Let them fall on rocks. He said, they can handle it. They know how to get up again.
That's right.
But if they don't, they'll always wonder. And then someday when they're older, they could injure themselves more. Let them fall down while they're young.
Yeah, let them figure it out. They got rubber bones when they're that young anyways. They just bounce right up. We're as parents like, oh my God, what's happening? And they just keep running.
They do.
Tumble and run.
Yeah.
And we can learn so much from that because they don't see a stumble as a failure. It's just a part of learning how to use your legs. And that is really what stepping into your purpose and stepping into your passions really is. It's just really learning how to use your legs for the first time.
It is. And when you can use those legs and figure out that, holy crap, I can dance on these suckers.
Yeah.
They're less stumbling around. Yeah. Hold back, people. Here I come.
Yeah.
And I think that there's such a confidence that comes in knowing what I did. Look at this thing I did.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that it's okay to say that about your own work.
Yeah.
Like for when authors come in, they have to advocate for their work. They have to stand up and say, this is why I think this book should be on the shelf. This is who I am.
Yeah.
As a woman in business, I had to step out and I had to prove that I deserve a seat at the table in the marketplace.
And that's hard. And it's especially hard for women. It really is still to this day. It's hard. As much as there is lots of feminism and there's lots of, budding equality, it is hard for women to step out and say, hey, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking no for an answer anymore.
And I deserve better.
Yeah.
It's a risky thing to say, here's what I'm going to do. And actually, by the way, it's going to be on my terms.
Yes.
Because it feels like it's an arrogant, bold move that somehow we were not given permission to have. But the permission comes from you.
Yes.
It comes from you. And if that is one thing I could pass on to like my daughters and their friends is you do not need permission. You just need a shot. And you know what? The shot is one that you find and you take on your own.
That's right. And the one in the dark. The one that you're like, you know what? The Hail Mary, I have to do this or else I feel like I'll always wonder.
Yeah.
That moment, just jump right into that moment. You must have felt like that when you started writing your book.
Yeah.
That must be a different world for you. And now you see both sides of the table.
Well, I've been writing my whole life.
Yeah.
So I have boxes in my closet. Don't go looking in there. In my closet for journals my whole life.
I love that. Me too.
And there was some like in high school, you pick up, I'm just going to read these and see what my young self thought. Ooh, she was a dramatic girl that ran. And the pages are crinkly. It says, if you're wondering why the pages are wet, it's because my tears are falling on the page. Because so-and-so boy wouldn't talk to me.
Yeah.
I probably didn't want to talk to him either. But the thought that he wouldn't talk to me just broke my little heart.
Of course.
And so it's all books of overcoming things and being afraid and feeling like this book was my only safe place because nobody else would listen to me. Nobody else I could really trust.
Yeah.
Except my imaginary friend within the pages of my book. And then
beautiful.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I die tomorrow, won't happen. But if I die tomorrow, my life is pretty well documented.
That's amazing.
So
there you go.
It's
all you need is a ghostwriter, and you're you're ready to go. Memoir of Brandi and Worsden.
Yeah. But the book that I wrote is actually the book about the book truck.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how's it coming?
It's almost done.
Almost done?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. And I sent it to an agent, and she read it and said that, okay, so here's some suggestions, then come back to me with it. So it's just,
what a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm so proud of you and happy for you. It makes me beam.
Thanks. Well, and as we were talking earlier too, you have literally been part of the daisy chain story from almost the beginning of our address-based business.
Yes.
You were one of the first authors who came into the store when the store was just new, when we had like a lot of that stuff out there. The shelves didn't even exist because we didn't have anything in here.
Yeah.
And
when I came in here, I was just remarking on how beautiful and full and how much it has grown in here since, the first days.
The baby's grown up.
Yeah.
You've been here from the beginning.
I have, and it's been such an honor. I know that so many of my little author dreams have come true because I met you. I got to see my book on a shelf, which I never thought as a indie publisher that I would ever get to see. That was an amazing experience for me. I got to be on CBC radio. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Like such milestones in my career. My author photo shoot was here. This place is it's just so near and dear to my heart, and so are you. And watching your journey and the journey of the bookstore, and watching new readers come in and post like, oh, I went to Daisy Chain for the first time. I love it. I'm like, oh, yes, love it. Go back all the time. It's still, no matter how many bookstores I visit, this is still my favorite spot in Edmonton or otherwise.
Well, you're so nice.
That's it.
I think one of the things that I appreciate the most about you is I feel like I'm not going to cry.
Me neither.
I feel like just as a woman, I want to champion you. I did. I cried.
And you really have. Like, I am so grateful to you for seeing something in me before I even really saw it. Like, I was just a baby doing baby author things, and my book was still my own. And you were like, well, do you want to have your book here? And I was like, oh my God, yes. And then I went home and cried, and I was like, my book's going to be in a bookstore. And I'm so grateful and so in love with this place, and I love you, and it's just been, thank you. It's been amazing.
You're welcome. I'm totally for you. And when somebody chooses your book off the shelf, I do feel a little bit of, not maternal pride, but a little bit of like sisterly, excitement for you. Like, oh, getting her book. And that's fun. And I want, as a bookseller, I want to feel that.
Yeah.
I want to know that when somebody comes in here with their dollars, their precious book buying dollars, they're going to get something valuable in exchange for that.
Yeah.
Because it's not unlikely that you could be in a store where there's a lot of books and you're going to go home with something not great.
Yeah. I agree. And that's what I think is the best about little independent bookstores, is that when you go in there, those are carefully hand-chosen books that somebody else thinks that you might like. And you have a way better chance of finding something that's valuable. And book dollars are the most important dollars, I think.
They are. And you know what? The price of books has gone up.
It has.
So the price of printing them, the price of shipping, the
paper,
price of everything.
All of it.
And it's kind of a fascinating thing to me to see how with social media, readers are actually claiming book space.
Yeah.
It's no longer driven by publishers who are saying, here's the things we think that you should buy and read. Now readers are saying, we're making enough videos on TikTok and Bookstagram. We are deciding what we want to read. And publishers are saying, we're going to have to do more of what they're saying.
Yes.
Because they're driving it.
Traditional publishing fell behind is what happened. They fell behind in the times because of their rules and their boardrooms and their men in their boardrooms that decide what people want to read. And with the invention of social media and TikTok and then Book Talk and Bookstagram, and these girls are literally screaming into the void. They are screaming into the void about these books that they love, and they're supporting independent authors because they just want to.
Yeah.
Because they know that the stories are the ones that they want to read. And now more than ever, there is a chance for anybody who finishes a book to, look at Emily Henry and Colleen Hoover and just making waves for women authors to sign Netflix deals and be in those boardrooms and say, no, this is what they want to read. This is the stuff they want to read.
And to put their own names on the books.
Yeah.
Whereas years ago, a lot of women didn't put their names on the books because it wasn't so popular.
That's right.
And that's just such a shame. I cannot imagine if I was to write something and I couldn't put my name on it. I'd feel devastated. That's your personal work. That's your passion, your heart, your everything. And the number of edits and the times you go back and forth over your work. Yeah. Like that's just
the amount of times that you read your own work and you're like, I do not want to read this one more time.
I want to read something else.
Yeah, I want to read something else, anything else but what my own words were.
Yeah.
But it's such a shame that so many people have had to, even, going back into science, women scientists had to pretend that they were men and make articles and write papers as if they were men because nobody would listen to them otherwise. Yeah. And now we're in this day and age where I'm sure all of our ancestors are like, they're doing the thing. They're doing the thing that we wanted to do and we couldn't do it.
They couldn't do it.
They just and this world is, and as much as people say negative things about social media and TikTok and Instagram, I have never felt more community than I have in those little pockets of social media with those girls who are screaming into the void about the things that they love. And it is so inspiring and they're so passionate. Like they're just as, but when you were a little kid and you wanted your friend to read your favorite book because you just wanted somebody to experience it for the first time, they still feel like that. And it's so amazing to watch them all heal their inner children and get to share with, and so much of a bigger audience than we would ever have the opportunity to make something and make it everything that you've ever dreamed of is right here in our hands right now. Mm-hmm. And it's so amazing.
So when you were younger and you were going to give your favorite book to your friend to read, what book was it?
When I was younger, I would have to say it would probably be, I was reading real books that I shouldn't have been reading when I was real young, but probably when I was younger, it would be, it's this very tragic romance. And of course, my mind is blanking now.
Well, now I have menopause brain, but you can't even claim that.
No, I just have busy brain. That's what's going on. Oh my goodness. Well, another one. I'll go with another one. The Time Traveler's Wife.
Oh,
yeah. My whole romance world when I read it for the first time. And my copy is so beat up and so dog-eared from like just years of being thrown in a bag at the beach. And yeah, I loved that book. I wanted everyone to read it. I was like, but it's so romantic and tragic romance still to this day. Oof. Will always have my heart. I am not a romance needs to be a happily ever after. That is not a thing for this. The more tragic it is, the more I relate to it. What was your favorite book as a kid that you wanted all your
it was probably a safe choice was a Sweet Valley High book.
Oh, yeah. I loved Sweet Valley High.
If they haven't read it, I was like, what? How do I have to read it? The Wakefield Twins? Come But then I started reading like Flowers in the Attic. And grade 7, I was reading the Thornbirds.
Ooh.
I mean, when they give us reading time in class, you have a half an hour before your class starts.
Oh, I love
You had to bring a book. I brought the Thornbirds, a little pocket book. The teacher walked around and she peeks over and she says, Brandi, does your mother know what you're reading? I said, I don't know. Like, I never asked. Right? It was just what I was reading.
Right.
And then the next time when I finished that one, I brought Cujo.
Oh, wow. What a big difference between the two. That's and I love that book more than the movie. I will always love the book more, but that is such a good book.
Because I think it was always an interesting thing for me to say in any book space, library, bookstore, whatever, if I'm curious about that book, I want to know what else there is. The cover is curious, the title, what's inside. And I didn't have any limitations on what I should or shouldn't read. I just was, if I was curious, I would just read.
Yeah.
And so I think that's so important, is to make books available. But when I was younger, reading wasn't really cool.
No.
It was like, you were the geek.
Yeah,
right?
The girl in the corner who ate her lunch by herself reading a book. That was me. I did that.
With the glasses and the pigtails. And, and they were so happy because we were so quiet. We were so obedient. Mm-hmm. But I was reading the Thornbirds, for God's sake.
A Kraken Forever. A Kraken Forever.
A Kraken Forever.
Yeah. And
Lorleen McDaniel?
Janine Wall.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Heartbreakingly devastating. I couldn't tell anyone that I read this book because it was like, you know, for the times, for the 90s, it was smut for the 90s. You know what I mean? Like it was not appropriate for an 11-year-old girl to be reading, but that was the moment I fell in love with tragic romance. But I also didn't have any limitations on what I was allowed to read. No. Nobody told me, oh, you can't read that, or you're too young to read that. I read a book a day. They couldn't keep up. There's no way that they would be able to be like, hey, maybe that was a little inappropriate. I was already on to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. I think back then, like, I mean, there's a little bit of an age difference slightly. Yeah. However, not when I was, how could you?
Radiant.
It's my 52nd year. When I was younger, parents didn't pay attention to what the kids are doing in those kinds of detail, right? Like, you'd go outside, you'd play, you'd watch whatever you watch. Nobody
children was seen and not heard.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't, and my mom wasn't like over my shoulder, like, what are you reading?
No. And if somebody was to ask any of her parents, what are they watching at the sleepovers? What are they reading? Nobody paid attention. They're fine, obviously. They're not in jail. They're not pregnant. Leave them alone. All right, so they're fine.
Those two things and you're golden.
The standard has risen slightly.
A little bit, yeah.
But yet, they're not happier. No, I don't know what the deal is there. And yet, to find books that young people want to read now, there does have to be a level of spice, charm, and a little bit of shock value in the books.
Yeah.
They're not content with a simple kind of slow burn all the way, nothing happens, and then it's over. That's really nice, but like the Little House on the Prairie times, no answer rise. Yeah. But that girl was kidnapped repeatedly.
Yes.
She was handcuffed. She was bound. She was put in a trunk.
She really was.
That girl needs some serious therapy.
She does. I don't know where she is now, but I hope it's somewhere very nice. I hope she doesn't have to solve any more mysteries.
Oh, man. Her father, Carson Drew, how did he ever let her out of the house?
He didn't know what she was doing either.
She was going to get in trouble. And her friends, why did they go out with her anywhere?
Yeah.
Bess and George, tell that girl, stay home and
stop getting into trouble and trying to find mysteries out of nothing.
Yeah. Those books now, there would be some scandal attached to it.
There would be,
right?
Yeah,
because I think that's the level that reading has become. It's an outlet for curiosity. It's a safe place for a young reader to challenge ideas, perspectives, histories, and it's a very inexpensive way for them to develop empathy and grow. And so I don't put limitations on them either. We don't have any age limits on the shelves.
No, I know. I love that.
Because I don't know why places do that for kids. They say, if you're this age, this is your section. But that's possibly not what their reading level actually is.
That's right.
Nor their curiosity.
That's right.
So we don't put age limits anywhere else. We don't say, okay, if you're adults between 24 and 36, this is your section. We wouldn't dare.
You can have these restaurants on this side of the street.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
People would say, screw you. Right. So we don't do it for kids because we don't want to inhibit their reading. Plus, adults still read those books.
That's right.
So that means you wouldn't be allowed to do? No. Not cool.
That doesn't fly with me either. And you know what? When I was 10, 11, I was reading at like a university level. Like those books in my reading level, if someone had been like, oh, well, you can't purchase these because this is for 15-year-olds, not 11-year-olds, I would have been bored to tears and I would have stopped reading.
Yeah. I think that's the problem with a lot of people's reading habits is you were given expectations that did not match your curiosity.
Yes.
And then when you hit that cap, you realize, well, there's nothing else, or you read the wrong book. And you go, well, like, reading sucks.
I hate reading.
Oh, my gosh. It's got to be a different book.
Yeah. Right. Try something else. Well, and that was the thing when we do novel study for homeschool. So I let Jackson pick what he wants to read. Or if he tells me that he's really interested in something, I'll try and pick a book that I think that would work with that. We read halfway through a series of unfortunate events. And then he was like, Mom, I really want to read Percy Jackson. And I was like, done. So I went out, I got the special edition of Percy Jackson because I thought I'm going to make this an experience for him because that's the first book that he's ever been like, I want to read it. And he wanted to read it because of the TV show and he wanted to read it first before he watched the show. And I was like, oh, there he is. That's my kid right there. My boy. I look like me all the time, but he definitely has my tendencies. And so I just wanted to nurture that. Like, you want to read Percy Jackson? Let's read it. What do you want to read? Because to me, I just want to see him enjoy storytelling and enjoy reading. That's all. From a kid who couldn't read at all till I homeschooled him. I've never had to teach anyone how to read. That was crazy. I didn't remember. I taught myself how to read. Sesame Street and books on tape.
Sesame Street.
Yeah. Sesame Street and books on tape. So I got this little boy who didn't know how to read and I thought, how are we going to do this? And that's how I did it, by getting him things that he was interested in. So if you limit kids on what they can read, they're going to hate reading.
True. And also, people are so worried about the content. So if somebody says, oh, this is not appropriate because it contains XYZ. Sure. It's too sexy. There's too many curse words. Whatever. Too violence, too much blood.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. However, what are they watching? Because I guarantee that they're watching things that are more violent than this book.
Probably.
Also, they're only going to read within the context of what they understand.
That's right.
So if you give them scenes that are very, let's say, steamy, but they have no idea what those terms mean or what that looks like, they're just going to kind of blow past it.
That's right.
My grandma had Harlequin books in her house, and she read like one or two a day. It was a regular thing.
Old school romance.
Totally. With the long hair.
Yes. Yeah. The shirt. The shirt is so important.
Oh my gosh. Always flowing.
Yeah.
Like, is it windy everywhere?
It must be.
Always.
It's more romantic that way.
Oh my God. And I would pick up books and I would read them. I had no idea what these things were. I thought a member was a part of a club.
Yeah.
I did not know what any of this meant. And I was like, okay. And then just get to the end and realize, oh, here's where they meet. Here's where they kiss. Here's where they fight. Here's where they kiss again. And then it's over. And then next one, formula. And I figured it out.
Yeah.
Right. But I didn't understand all of it because I was 10.
Yeah.
What did I know?
You knew the words that you knew and you enjoyed the parts of the book that you understood.
Sure.
Yeah. And it meant something. And then it's like when you listen to the songs that you used to listen to in your youth and you're like, oh my God, my mom let me listen to that at that age.
We listened to Meatloaf's Bad Out of Hell. Have you seen the cover of that album?
Yeah.
My mom had that on the floor and that cover used to freak me out. And I sang the song Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. I thought it was the baseball song. I had no idea. And then one day I heard it in the car and I was like, oh no. I can sing every word, but I am now understanding.
Now you know what those words mean. Yes. Can you imagine your mom just like,
what was she thinking? Yeah. She's probably laughing a little bit.
Probably like, maybe you're going to grow up and realize what you just said.
Oh my God. Yeah, and I think that's the part that's fun.
Yeah,
is letting a reader discover those things. If they don't get it, who cares? Let them get it later. But if they're and they're turning pages, curious, like, let them do it.
And if it sparks conversation, let them talk. Let them ask questions.
Yeah.
Use it as a opening tool. You know, let them read what they want to read, and then they'll come and ask their questions, and you can answer however you so choose.
Does somebody think possibly that if a child reads a book that is too violent or too sexy, that it's like a how-to manual? Are they going to now learn what they could or should do?
I mean, I definitely, I see, here's the thing about readers that non-readers or sometimes parents don't
Or would-be readers. They have
or would-be readers.
Yeah,
That's right, would-be readers. Here's the thing. If you're reading, I think that you are a free thinker. This is my process. The more you read, the more you start to gain different perspectives and knowledge that you wouldn't necessarily learn anywhere else. And so readers are free thinkers. So I feel like personally as a reader, no, I'm not. I'm definitely, and certainly the dark romance that I read, I'm not going to go chase my stalker down the street because I'm in love with him. Is it fun to read about, though? Yes, absolutely exhilarating. But I would never do that, I don't think, anyway.
But here's something interesting. So we did something in the store, was it last month or the month before? I don't know what's today. I don't know, whatever. And we called it the Romance Roundtable, where we invited people to come and we just talked about tropes and romance, the genre, all open door, closed door, the whole deal. And one of the things that was kind of agreed upon by a lot of people in the room was how much it changed their dating expectations.
Yes.
Because book boyfriends were so much better than real life boyfriends, and how it really, it was more satisfying somehow to huddle up with this book than to deal with that. And I thought, ooh, that's an interesting side effect.
Right? And here's the thing, is that it also changed my dating perspective. And suddenly I had all these like levels that I was like, no, if a fictional man can do it, you can certainly open my door and you can take off my high-heeled shoes at the end of the night after I just looked so pretty for you. What do you mean? And I think that, I think this is a good thing, because I think if men started listening, if they started reading what their girlfriends were reading, this is free advice now.
Now, are you saying that maybe the guys should use these books as the how-to manuals, maybe?
Maybe they need, of course, age appropriate now, we're talking, but maybe they need to take a little delve into the romance section and see why their girlfriends are so obsessed with their book boyfriend.
Okay, but if they're going to read... Okay, hold on, though. Because if they're going to read...
ones.
Well, that's the thing. They don't know.
They don't know.
They're going to read a dark romance. And this dark romance character is into the whole, you are mine. Nobody else is going to have you. And I'm going to put all these rules around you, and it's going to be on my terms, and you're going to love it.
Sure.
Is that really what a girl wants to date? They want to keep those between the pages of a book.
That's right. So there's a fine line. So you have to find a book girl. Here's what happens. You find a book girl or a book sister or a book, yes? And then you ask them, who is your favorite book boyfriend? And then you read that book, because that's probably what she wants. I'm going to guess that there's a certain level, and then you ask for consent, and then you're golden.
Yeah, because in books, the consent part is usually not sexy.
No, it's
necessary.
Yeah, it is.
It's necessary. Yes. Okay, so if you were to think about book boyfriends, and your eyes went up, who would your ideal book boyfriend be?
My ideal book boyfriend.
Yeah.
This is going to sound so bad because I literally just said that I would not chase my stalker down the street.
You did. We all heard it.
Yeah, everyone heard it.
Yeah, we heard it.
Zaid from Hunting and Haunting Adeline. So
you picked Haunting Adeline?
Are you kidding? Hold on. Here, bear with me here now. Here's the thing. There is something about a man. Okay, he's not all bad. He stalked her, yes, okay. But we're breezing past that one. That's just, everybody has flaws now, okay? He stopped at nothing to get that girl back. Stopped at absolutely nothing.
Even whether she wanted it or not.
What? She wanted it.
What
when she went consent? When she gave consent when she was in front of the window doing the thing. If you know, you know. Trust me. So, okay. I would not chase my stalker down this. I don't have a stalker, but I would not chase my stalker down the street. But the fact that when she got stolen, when she got kidnapped by the bad guys, of course, and he stopped at nothing to get her back, and then they had
to rescue her.
Yeah, to rescue her. And then at the end, they had their little twisted happily ever after for the two of them, and I bawled at the end of that. Yeah, I knew. I said, "There's something wrong with you, girl." You were built.
So his redeeming quality is that he rode in on a white horse and he, with all nobility and charm, rescued her from the bad guys.
She liked the stalking.
Yeah,
I just wanted
to.
She liked it. And so, yes, that was his redeeming quality. And also, I won't give anything away for anyone who hasn't read it, but his profession just makes him a darling. That's what makes you fall. And that's the thing about dark romance, though. It is the morally gray. It is that little gray area that makes you fall in love with those characters. Because if you didn't have that, you'd be like, why am I reading this? This is abuse and borderline. This is not good. But those little gray areas, those he does this, but he
does all the wrong things for all the right reasons.
For all the right. That's right.
Basically, he's a gangster.
Yeah. Oh no, it tracks. It tracks for me. That's not my type anymore. Now I'm the black cat girlfriend, and I have a golden retriever boyfriend. So
okay, yeah. So you've mellowed a little.
I've mellowed a little, yes. Okay. And to be fair, I don't read a lot of golden retriever tropes. I'm more of the inkiest black dark romance I can read, and then try and find some form of happiness. They're the tragic ones. That's why I like a tragic story.
The social worker in me wants to say, okay, so there's some things we can unpack here.
Do I need therapy? Yes, and I go to therapy. Don't worry, I'm good. That's why I now have a golden retriever boyfriend instead of the morally gray.
Oh my word, that's funny. That's funny. I think my ideal book boyfriend would be Jamie Fraser.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say, Outlander.
I'll give that to you.
He's flawed. He's charming. He's funny. He's brave. He's wounded. He's noble. He's loyal.
Broody. Oh, I love a broody man.
But there's something so charming about somebody who is that disarming.
Yes.
And vulnerable, and yet also can do the things that you need somebody to do who's looking out for you.
Like chop wood.
Slay a beast.
Yeah. Killing your name, you know?
Yeah. When we watched the show, my husband and I, and
for the plot, of course.
For the plot. Well, I do like a good, Scotland scene.
Oh, of course. The background is beautiful when you get a chance to look at it.
We were watching this, and he turns to me, he says, "Really? This is what us guys have to keep up with here?"
Yes, this fantasy time traveling man.
No, this stays right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is private between me and him.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So as much as your fantasies can also be what you want, sometimes the books that we're reading are not. So women are still difficult, and there's no manual.
So true.
Yeah.
So why do you think that the romance genre right now is so popular?
I think the romance... Okay, so a lot of us in the 90s were growing up, in the 90s and the 80s, were growing up with parents who were very stifled when it came to, we'll just say, romance and sexuality.
Sure.
A lot of our parents didn't kiss,
in front of us.
Right? They didn't, they weren't affectionate. So we grew up with all these yearnings inside of us, wondering, what is happening? Why do I want these things that I've really never seen before or had any example of, right? And I think us growing up and delving into the romance genre, we realized, oh, this exists, this romantic, men who care about their women, who treat them with respect, who hold them above. That is really what the divine feminine in all of us really wants. And the masculine holds the container for that. And if they can't hold that container, then it feels less than. And so I think that a lot of women are just discovering new kinks and discovering new romance things that they want. And like, look at all the book talk girlies who are getting their husbands involved and their boyfriends, and they're making TikToks with the Dorleen and I let out a breath that I didn't know I was holding.
I hate that one. I see it in a book.
I know.
I let out a gasp because it is my least favorite statement. Every writer's putting that in a book. They know they're holding the breath.
Yes.
I know it. Please say something else.
I always know when I'm holding my breath.
Oh.
Okay. It's not anything that I'm surprised about. But I think that it just paints this beautiful romantic masterpiece of desire and sexuality and all the things that we didn't get to explore, in our youth, in our growing up. And now we get to unequivocally have a smorgasbord. And romance back then was not like romance now. There was no dark romance. It was a lot of it was closed door. There wasn't a lot of detail, but that's all they could write back then. And it still drove women wild, right?
Well, and most of the books back then were written by men.
But yes, right? From the male perspective, which is so odd. And now we get all these book boyfriends from the female perspective.
Yeah.
And it is very much the female gaze. And I think that is definitely the reason why romance is the highest grossing genre. And it is. And so many people will be like, oh, you're a romance writer? You write dirty books for girls? Yes, I do. The dirtiest.
Oh, the dirtiest.
Well, my new one. Yes.
Do you have a title on this new one?
I do. It's called Lustful Illusions. Starting off real strong. Well, that it's the working title, but
I like that. Okay.
That's what we're going with, I think.
Ready.
And it is about a female cult leader who falls in love with her stalker. Yeah,
I'm noticing a trend here.
Yeah, a little bit. And it is probably some of the scenes that I have written. I'm like, this has got to be illegal. All of this has got to be illegal to read, but I'm so excited about it. And it's so different from my series, because my series is a very romantic, women forward, like Adeline is a powerhouse. And Calliope she's the new main character. She is in her own right. But Adeline is everything that I have ever gone through in my life translated through these pages. I wrote the second one when my own romantic life was falling apart, and I didn't think I would ever write romance again.
Yeah.
And then I ended up writing some of my most romantic, sappiest stuff in that second book. And so the difference between the two is crazy, but it is such a different, dark romance is such a different breed from romantasy. It's like taking it's like going into a room and being like, oh, I didn't know all these things were in here. Like in your house that you had no idea you had.
You knew.
Yeah, I knew.
You knew.
A little bit. It's been really fun and totally different from writing my series. And I think that it'll give a lot more edge as this series goes along. But this will still be my soft romantic side. The dark romance is my indulging the wildest ideas that I have and putting it down on the page.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, I'm really excited about it. I haven't and it feels like a first book again. So your first book when you write it, which you're probably finding, is that it's it's yours. And it's so private. And it's just this beautiful moment that you're sharing between you and your soul and whoever you get to read your pages and stuff like that. But it is really private. The moment that you press that publish button, it's not yours anymore. It's everybody else's. And now you have I still have readers who are like, are you working on the third book in the series still? And I'm like, yeah, I'm still doing that too. Just wait. Let me finish this project first and then I'll get back to that one. It's not yours anymore. Suddenly you have an audience that wants more and they want to know things. And so this book feels a lot more like a first book, delving into this new genre for me to write in. And it's just been such a beautiful experience again. And I think that's why I like consulting with authors who are writing their first books. That's my favorite consultation to do because it's so breathtaking to watch them transform within their own pages. And when they finish that book, it is such a moment of, I did the thing that a lot of people start out to do, but never finish. And I finished. Mm-hmm. And now I get to press that publish button and now everything is different. So I've really enjoyed this process and it feels like a baby again, as opposed to, I'm like, oh my God, do you think the readers are going to like this? Can I even put this in the book? Are they going to hate this? I'm killing off a character. Is this a good idea?
Kill your darlings.
That's right. And I did. Yeah. Killed my darlings.
Yeah. You have to.
You do. It makes for real good pages.
Well, I can't do that.
No, of course.
I can't.
No. Don't. Please don't kill any of your characters.
Not fiction about my life.
Don't do that. Don't kill your darlings. Please.
Yeah, I won't.
We need you around.
I won't do that. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So writing nonfiction, is that what you always wanted to write? Did you always want to write the book truck book?
I think from the beginning, yes.
Yes.
Because I actually journaled it. The date, here's what I did, here's the lists I made, here's the places I went that nobody came. Here's the day that I went to an outdoor market at a farm, and it was an 8-hour market. Like, that's a long market. And I made $15. Nobody came.
Yeah.
It was an absolute dead day for me. And I was freezing. Like, everything hurt. I was so cold. And, but then next week I did the same thing again because and I would write it down. 8 hours, total sales, $15. Right.
And you're like, I don't even want to write this.
Well, I needed to know, like,
that's right.
Is this going to be what it always looks like? Or is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? There's no precedent. So I had no idea.
You were out there in the wild all on your own. Yeah.
No other book truck in the province. No. Siri, stop it. There's no other precedent like that for me to follow. So when you're the first one running the race, you can't spend time looking back and seeing what's coming up behind you or whatever. You have to stay focused. And that's one of our mantras is always keep your eye on the finish line.
Yes.
And I wasn't distracted by things coming and going, things that didn't work, things that were really expensive, things that were a problem. I just had to constantly be working forward. And
I bet that helps with the book, doesn't it?
It does. It's a really good story. I didn't think it would be that kind of story, honestly.
I'm so excited.
I thought it would be, oh, look, she has this idea. Oh, look, people came and they loved it. Oh, look, it's just this great thing. And then she gets a holiday. No. Like, that is not what happened.
No.
But I look back on it and I think, what a surreal experience. When I look back, did I do that?
Yeah.
Who does that?
I mean, I'm sure you came up with this idea and you said it and people were like, that's crazy.
They literally did.
Yeah. No, that can't work. And then now look at where we are.
Look at where we are. Yeah. In 5 years, 2 bookstores during a pandemic.
Yeah. Which is my favorite thing to tell people. That's my favorite thing to tell people. I'm like, Brandi started a book truck and then she opened a store in the pandemic and then she opened a second store. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think that's also a little bit of being naive and innocent and not really caring about what I shouldn't do. I just thought, well, why not? Because my mantra, if I was to actually write a title for my personal memoir, I remember when I was in high school, a teacher said, what's going to be on your headstone when you die? And what's the title of your memoir going to be? And my title of the memoir would be No, period, matter, period, what, period. I cannot literally be worried about the things that could happen if. I don't care, and I don't know. How arrogant am I to think about all those things that could happen when I have things to do?
Yeah, there's things to do today, right now, in this moment.
So I have so many notebook pages full of lists of ideas of things I haven't even done yet. And there are things that other bookstores haven't done either.
Yeah.
Because I also don't like the
trailblazer. That's what I love so much about you is that you're like, oh, nobody's doing this. I'm gonna.
Yeah. And I actually don't always know what people are doing or not doing either because I don't follow them to know. I don't.
Blinders.
Exactly.
That's right.
Totally. Because I don't want to know.
No.
I want to know what works for our community, what serves them well, what follows our passion and our space, and say, what if we just did this? Let's try it. That's why we do the chocolate and book pair events, or do the bookish dinner party, or we do all the other little things because that's what serves our people well.
That's right, and you do listen to your readers that come in here and say, "Oh, it would be so great if we had a place that we could do this."
Yeah.
And then you make that happen like a little fairy godmother. And I love it so much. It's one of my favorite things about you. It's just so great. And the amount of people that you support in the neighborhood is just incredible. I don't know any other store or any other place in the world where you can go and be like, oh, all of this, pretty much all of your merch and all of the chocolates and all of the teas and niche teas like bookish teas and bookish chocolate and it's perfect and it's what people want.
Yeah.
And then it serves here.
It serves other small business owners that I care about and that I know.
Yes. And it's so beautiful to me because I know when I come in here and I pick little things out, I know that somebody put their love and their effort and all of their passion into something, and I get to bring it home now, and I love that.
Yeah, it's fun. I always think too, whenever you do anything, you're on a stage. When you have a platform like this, like a podcast, like a business, like anything where you are in front of people, it's like they gave you a stage and a microphone and said, "Okay, go." But the stage is big. The stage is big, and I am definitely not cocky enough to think that stage should all be mine.
No.
I did not get there on my own,
That's right.
and I do not stay there on my own. So I would much rather highlight Sarah from the Tea Girl and Colleen from Colleen's Chocolates and everybody else who kind of comes along with me and says, come on the stage. Let's everybody get in the spotlight.
Everybody get in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And I love that so much because collaboration over competition
Yes.
and especially with women is so important. It heals generations of being put against each other in competition and being like, oh, well, that woman is doing that. Well, there's no room for me.
Right.
And instead we're saying, no, the table is very big. And if there's no room for you, we will build a longer table.
Hell yeah. And the women will build it.
And the women will build it.
Yes.
That's right.
Because I want my daughters to see what's possible, even though it's scary.
Yes.
Who cares if it's scary? Everything is scary. At a restaurant, you don't know what the food is. It's scary. Try it. Why don't we have that same kind of feeling about our regular lives?
Okay.
And I don't want them to think, well, I'm not good enough. You absolutely are.
Yes.
And that lie is garbage, and we're not going to put up with it. So whatever you want to do, you could do. And the best way for me to actually teach that as a parent was to do it and show them. And they're like, yeah, my mom does this book thing. Yeah. I think they're kind of tired of it because when you do a platform like this kind of a thing, social media or whatever, your face is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of small businesses, a lot of authors even don't put their faces on things, right? We don't want to be known for stuff. And so because my face is often out there, my kids are used to, oh, are you the lady who runs the bookstore? Is that your book truck? And I took my daughter out for brunch one day, and I was looking at my Sunday morning grubbies, and my hair was like no makeup. And we walk in, I've got my sweatpants on. We walk into the restaurant, and there's two people sitting on a bench. And as we're going in, my girls are going in ahead of me, and this lady grabs my arm. She goes, "Are you Brandi who runs the bookstore?" My daughter Sydney goes, "Oh, here we go." And they just went to the restaurant. They're like, oh, everywhere we go.
Oh,
This is just how
I love that for you, though.
Yeah.
Those are some of my favorite moments when people are like, "Oh my God, did you write?" And I'm like,
yeah.
"That's me. I did that. You want me to sign that for you?" Like those moments are so validating.
Because what it means is at any level, your platform, your message, your content, your business, your character has resonated and been memorable. And I think that is something that we confuse with fame.
Yeah.
It's not fame. Like, I'm not Taylor Swift. It's not that. Like, it's not that. It's, I just run a bookstore, for goodness sake. But somebody sees my face and associates whatever good feeling that they have with the bookstore with that face. I'll take that.
Yeah.
That's a compliment.
Absolutely.
And I just think that's
You're like a local celebrity to us, though. All of the book girls that come in here, we're like, "Yeah, we know Brandi."
yeah. Although people do call me Daisy, and I do answer to it.
Well, I mean, it comes with the territory, right? I guess.
Yeah.
I love it.
So before we go,
Mhm.
can you tell me, because you already told us about your new book.
Yeah.
So what is the next thing that you're the most excited about besides your book?
Well, I think that I'm just really stepped into who I am as an author and a brand, because let's just be honest, we are a brand.
Yes.
And we are representing our brand no matter where we are. And I think that I just have such a solid, I took a big step back from social media. I went through, I left my fiance. I went through this big, huge transformational, big moments. And I did it behind the scenes while I was writing this third book and during the second as well. And I think that the thing that I'm most excited about is getting to be me fully, authentically, and just really stepping into who I know that I am and re-showing everybody like, hey, I know I went away for a little while, but I'm back. And guess what? I know who I am now. And it's just, that's what I think I'm the most excited about. And throwing my own brand of event. So I have this idea for a book signing event with a couple other independent authors around it locally to here. And I just have this brilliant fairy garden idea that I have swirling around in my head. And so I'm really excited about that as well. But that comes from being like, I know who I am as a brand and who I am as a person. And now I just want to be her. And I think that's my favorite thing. And I'm just really reveling in that. The moments before, because I know after is going to be so different.
Yeah, there's no going back.
There's no going back after that. No.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good for you.
I'm very excited. What are you most excited about, Pat?
A good night's sleep.
Yes. Same. Same enough.
I have to take things in small doses. I look forward to a good vacation, a good night's sleep, and honestly, those
little things, right?
Yeah, because a good night's sleep for me is not thinking about all the lists of things I have to do and all the things that are going on. It's just resting so deeply in the satisfaction and pleasure of having done it.
Yeah.
And the more I do and the more I hand things off to people that I trust, the more I can rest.
Yeah. The more you delegate, you're learning that maybe you don't have to. You can do it all, Brandi. We see you do it. But you don't have to.
No. And I don't want to do it all.
No.
I think there are so many people who could do really good things. And I want to find the people who I trust with those things and then step back and not do it.
I love that.
So ideally, I don't even see myself on the stage.
Just in the back.
I would love to inspire or train other people to lead it and run it and do it. And then for me to just let them.
And get some of those other other ideas that you have on your list out, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all have so many passions.
Yeah.
This isn't my only one.
No.
And when I'm not...
You don't live, breathe, and eat and sleep the bookstore?
Well, yeah, I do.
Yes.
But I have a lot of other passions that percolate, like we all do.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, if you're great at it, it's not the only thing you're great at.
That's right.
And I think we also believe that lie. They said, well, here's the thing you're supposed to do. I guess that's your one passion. That's garbage. That's one passion for right now.
Yeah.
The more you learn what you can do and who you are, and the more you realize, the older I get, I love not being so filtered. Yeah. Is saying, screw that. I don't want to do it. And then moving on. Freedom.
Yeah.
Like I want it.
Quitting does not mean that you failed. It means that you realize that thing wasn't for you anymore. It outlived its time. And you can let go and move forward and find other things that light you right up again.
When a show is over, if you go to a live show and the person who's on the stage gives you their best, they've done it so great, and they step off the stage, they haven't quit.
No.
They finished. I'm looking forward to that moment where I step off and I turn around and I look and somebody who is amazing is then doing it. That's what I look forward to. And I don't know when that will be or who that will be, but maybe it's you. Maybe.
Could be one of you.
But that's what I look forward to, is passing that baton. And really the vision I've always had for me as a woman is surrounding yourself with people on both sides. So learning from somebody over here and getting inspired by them, and then inspiring somebody else and sharing that. So you don't keep it all for yourself, but it goes right through you. And I've always had that vision of learning and sharing and teaching. And so I'm just in the point where I have picked up so many things in my life that I'm literally pouring into this bookstore company. And I'm looking forward to then sharing with somebody else. Here, see what you can do with it. I've got your back.
Yeah.
And then off they go.
That's beautiful. I love that so much. Yes, again, collaboration over competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. And what a beautiful legacy you have to leave.
Yeah. I think my kids will be proud to say that that's what my mom did one day.
Yeah. I know my son's like, oh, are you going to do book stuff? I'm like, yeah, I am. One day you're going to think it's really cool that your mom did book stuff.
Or will he be really embarrassed when he knows what you...
I mean, maybe.
Will you let him read them soon? Because you don't care what they read, right?
So yeah, I don't care. They're laying around the house. If he so happens to pick them up and read them, then he might learn a few things from Dimitri. Maybe not the new one though. Yeah,
keep it in the box.
Yeah, that one I think I might keep higher up.
Lock and key.
Yeah, I'm actually now. When people read this book, I will know that they read it because they will never look at me the same way again.
You're creating your own kind of legacy.
That's right. A different kind. I know.
Much legacy.
We're ready for it. I'm ready for it. And stepping out from this genre into that was a big step. That was like, hey, I'm going to do something different than what I've done before. I'm good at this.
Yeah.
I can show you that I can be good at this too.
Yeah. I mean, even Nora Roberts, bless her little heart, is doing that, right? She had the same thing for however long.
So long. And she was taught, you look at a bookstore, Nora Roberts is there.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And now she's doing other things because she's got new muscles to stretch. And I think that's the beautiful thing that women empower and encourage each other to do so beautifully.
Yeah.
Is to say, what else you got?
Yeah. What else?
Okay. Yeah. I can do that. And what else you got?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Right. And they're right there beside you.
Yes.
So it's
sisterhood and camaraderie, and it really is. And the book community especially is like that.
Mm-hmm.
I love them for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm really pleased that you're in our book community.
I'm happy to be here. It's my favorite place. It's my favorite book community to be in. Anytime anyone asks me, I'm like, oh, you should go to Daisy Chain. You're in Edmonton for the first time? Daisy Chain.
Daisy Chain.
Yeah.
Daisy Chain. Yeah.
Oh, you need a book date? You need to go to a bookstore for a date?
Daisy Chain.
Yeah.
There was one guy who came into the store by himself, and he was scoping out, where is your Tolstoy and Dostoevsky? And do you have any Steinbeck? And I was like, oh, do you have an impressive reading list? Are you trying to cross things off about the books you should read in your life? He said, No. I want to know where they are because when I bring my date in here, I want her to know that I know where these things are. And then another guy came in and he was asking for classics as well, the big, thick, impressive ones. And he wanted to buy them as props because when girls came to his apartment, they would think he was so smart.
Well, that's one way to do it.
So,
Crack the book and then you will be smart.
I mean, hey,
Yeah.
we haven't discovered that works by osmosis yet.
No,
Be in the vicinity of them is not enough.
I mean, I wish that would be so convenient if you could just like look at books and be like, read it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Right. Yeah. But if he tells somebody one day, I went to Daisy Chain and I got stocked up in props, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Come, get your props.
It's just funny.
She'll figure it out eventually. I love it.
Yeah.
See, multi-purpose. You don't even have to be a reader to come in here.
No, you
It's not for everybody.
just have to like people who like books.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay. That's it.
That's it.
We're done.
We're done. I loved that.
It was
That was so great. Yeah, Andy, you're such a great conversationalist.
Oh, sure.